Okay, let's look at reduce. I think reduce is one of the complex ones. I will try to make it simple, but just bear with me. So let's just see an example where we can use reduce. So let's create an array of numbers. This is maybe the simplest example. So 1 to 10, you can do it like this and continue to 10, but a more dynamic way is to use the array constructor function. Which is an object, like all functions are objects. That's why they contain these another functions inside of them. So there is a function called from. This you can pass to it a length, an object with the length property, and you can type the length. The idea behind this function that you pass it an iteratable object. It will create an empty array with the same length of this iteratable object, or you can do this length of 10. So for each element in this, I will map it. The values will be undefined, so I don't care about any value. I will just put underscore. Some people do this, and the second, which means I don't care about this argument. And the second one is the index, as you can see from the autocomplete. So index plus 1. I think this is pretty much easy. So now what numbers? 1 to 10. Yeah, it's a good and fast way and more dynamic. Anyway, so this will create another variable called this for result numbers.reduce. So the thing about reduce that here we use more than the current element. We before it we use the previous element, comma, the second argument is the current element. So for each iteration, the reduce will pass to our callback the value from the previous iteration. I hope this is that's why some people call it previous and current. Some people call it accumulator, and I'm not sure about the second one, but you can find it in the documentation. But I think as just to make things get in our mind, calling them previous and current will be a good idea. So this is the return value from our callback from the previous iteration. This is from the current, but obviously the previous iteration with the first time will be undefined. The previous value from in the first iteration will be undefined. So how we can give it a default value is the second argument for the reduce function. So 0 I will give it. So return previous plus the current. So this will sum the values in the array, and let's just trace it really fast. So the first time the default value for previous is 0 plus the current, which is 1, the first element in the array. Okay, this is 1. In the next iteration, the previous value is the return value from the previous iteration, which is 1 plus 2 3. So okay, in the next iteration, current is a 3 and the previous is a 3, so 6. Okay, next iteration, current is 4, but previous is 6, so 10. If you continue like this, we will at the end sum the whole array and just reduce it to one value. I think maybe this is why they call it like this. I'm not sure, but it sort of behaves like a map, and also it just retain one value at the end. So yeah, this is 55, the sum of the array. So how we can implement this? I think it's not that hard, but the only thing that will be hard is trying to understand it, or trying to trace it. Anyway, so I will keep this examples so I can use the new reduce function we will create. And by the way, we can make this shorter like this. Yeah, this is really short now. Looks better. Anyway, so array.prototype.reduces with that function. So the first argument will be the function. The second one is the default value for the previous argument. So default is a reserved word, so default with z. Anyway, so we will have a normal for loop like all other high order functions for the array, and we need, okay, let's just for of for each element in the array, this assign it to the previous to a variable called the previous, which we will return it each time. So this, I will call your function with previous. The second argument is the current, which is the iterator. I called it iterator. I will just rename it to the element. So obviously we don't have the previous function variable. So let prev equal defaults. So even if the user did not pass a default value, it will be undefined, which is a good behavior. So at the end we will return the previous. So I think a good proof that if I called reduces here, it will just return 55. Yes. This might sound confusing, but I think it's really powerful. We are able, using this, to save the state of the previous iteration, and for each time we passing the previous state to the next iteration. I think this is really powerful. And to show you a good example of what we can accomplish from this, let me just create an array of objects. Const objects, like this. So the first object, I think this is really this example. I use this thing a lot, so I think it's common. And store. I think it's just score. And the third one, 11. So now we will have Sarah. I think you saw what I am going to do, but anyway, let me just finish it. So what I will do, that I want to use our reduces function to reduce this array into a single object that contains the sum of the score for each name. So in another word, I will group the data by name and aggregating the group data by summing the score using the reduces function. So const res equal objs dot reduces here. I think I said it in one of the videos. Most of the logic is not in the real implementation. It's in the callback you provide. So this is the callback. I will have the previous and the current. I will write it in a long version, then I will make it really short. So I will return object. I will merge the previous object with the object I will return. So how to do this in modern JavaScript? We can use the split operator with a pref. So this will get every property inside the object and put it inside this one. It's really good feature. I think if you know a little bit about JavaScript, it's the same one as the object.assign. So this thing is the same as these two, these lines. It's the same thing, but the one below is more modern, and you look good when you do it. And okay, so now how to get the name? It's the current.name will be equal to current.score plus I will add to the score the previous score. So for example, the first iteration I will have this object, the name I will put it here, So this is like adding a dynamic key inside the object, and the score. I will sum the score of this object and the previous one. For example, if I was here and okay, name is Ruwat, so I will not create another object. I will store inside the object inside this property itself. So like overriding it. So I will sum the current score 11, and I will sum all the previous scores. So 10 and 22, which are they already summed one by one for each iteration. So, but the first time, the previous, the previous, is, but yeah, but first time the previous score will be undefined. So I need to use the logical operator to, if it was undefined, like like this, it will replace it by 0. So I won't get none, not undefined number, not a number, sorry. So how to access the previous score? As you can see, the score is stored inside the name in the previous object. So perf dot and inside the bracket dot name. And I think if I think you can see, yeah, you can see the errors from Quaker. You cannot read property reward of undefined because I'm not giving a default value for the previous. So as soon as I give it an empty object, everything will work okay, and result will be the sum, the objects group by name and summed by score. So 43, 22, 12, 23, 32, and 11, 43, 90. And 110 is 200, then 110, then 310. So everything works fine, I think. And even if I just use the normal reduce, I will get the same behavior. See, for example, the same behavior. So how we can make this really short? First thing, I'll just copy the object, cut the object, sorry, remove the return, and remove the curly brackets. So when you do it like this, so if the row function only has one line, it will return it. So this is implicit return. I don't need to be explicit about it. That's why. So to return, if you add like this, this is considered the body of the function, so it won't get returned. To make it, because it's a curly bracket, that's how we open the function inside, in a row function, sorry. So how to return it? You can put it inside the parentheses. This is tells JavaScript that this is an expression, and we can then return the object. Maybe one line? No, not one line. Yeah, and we still get the same behavior. I hope this was clear. I'm pretty sure that it's a little bit complex. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, I will try to make. There is a lot of high order functions in the Array prototype. I will try to do some of them in the future. Okay, bye.